after midday, and welcome. And this is a channel where you get to be bold, authentic, and significant, even in your parenting. And with us today to help us unpack how can we be more bold, how can we be more authentic, how can we be more significant in our parenting is one Dr. Carol Chakua. Karibu, I've always looked forward to doing this with you.
Thank you, Laimani. Yeah. I'm so glad to be here today.
Welcome, welcome. Now, being parenting. Every time I've tried to tell people about being parenting, the people who are English people, they have a challenge with the whole thing is constituted. You are the founder, you are the lead coach, so you knew why you constituted being parenting. What's that about?
Being parenting simply answers the question, how are you being when you're parenting?
Okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
I also get that. People say, is it being a parent?
Yes.
Being parent?
Yes.
It just doesn't sound grammatically correct. But really it's just how are you being as you're parenting?
Okay.
How are you showing up?
Okay.
And it's a coaching program for parents of children between age 2 to 18. So we deal with parents, that the whole entire spectrum. And we focus on the parent.
Okay.
And even when you look at the logo, BE is big. And then how are you being in the different spaces of your parenting?
Yes.
70% of it focuses on the parent. How are you showing up? How are you being? What's going on with you? Like what really is going on with you, even as you're interacting with your child. And then 30% focuses on the child and just why is your child behaving the way they are behaving, and what tools can you use? But before we get there, because Laimani, there are many programs and they focus on do this, do that, do this.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Fix this, fix that.
Yes.
And it's about fixing the child.
Exactly.
It's about getting these children to behave and be a certain way so that I don't look bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we ask. Is it about you or is it about the child? So we still go back to the parent, and we want to get you to a place where you are confident enough, and so we build that confidence in you. So I call it an inside job. It's so much an inside job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from inside, then you can start parenting from the inside out. Once you have confidence, once you are more aware of yourself and how you're interacting with your child.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's about who I am being. It's about being strengthened from within.
Exactly.
So that, because one of the challenges that parents have, they parent from a place of comparison. They are comparing themselves to other parents, and they keep feeling like they're failing.
Yes.
And then when they measure themselves by their child's behavior, when a child behaves this way, then it means as a parent, I am not measuring up.
Yeah.
People seem to have gotten the memo me I didn't get.
Exactly.
So you read all these books about how to handle toddlers, but even you end up becoming like a toddler because you're so overwhelmed.
And you get caught up with the tantrums. Yes.
So what causes parenting guilt, Carol?
What causes parenting guilt? A lot of things. One is not really being aware of who you are. Because when you're aware of who you are, you're clear about your values. You are parenting from a place that is wholesome. Then you are okay no matter what the child does. In fact, you look at the child and you're like, yeah, I got this. Yeah, whatever behavior that they have. So another thing that causes parenting guilt is a lot of comparison, like you had said earlier. We parent, you read a WhatsApp message comes through with this 10-year-old boy who can do wonders. So when you're watching, you're like, and my 12-year-old doesn't even come close. So a lot of comparison. We get so much information about 10 reasons your child is entitled. And then you read number 1, that's my child. Number 2, that's my child.
Number 3.
Yeah. So it's so outward focused. We are not focusing so much on the inside. Another reason is just, we've heard so much about perfect parents should be this and that. And so when you feel that you don't measure up, then the guilt comes. When you feel like my child is now 12 years and I didn't do the right things according to what is said is the right things when they were young, so I've already ruined my child. So everything that the child is doing at 12, you're like, yeah, I didn't give them a foundation.
And can you also speak to this concept that I've heard, which is causing women to feel very guilty about being a single parent, and especially being a single parent of a boy? It's like, but the virtue of it's both of the factors you had no control over, okay? Because you didn't have the control that God gave you a boy, but already you're made to feel so bad by society and inadequate. Why should you be, as a woman, parenting a boy? You're ruining that boy. You'll turn him into a sissy. You'll turn him into he will not be effective. Can you please speak into that? Because that's a big one.
Yeah, and it does happen. Our tagline is "You are enough," and I really would like to say you are enough, just as you are. I don't think there's a mistake that God did, that God made to bring this boy into your life. Your circumstances are the circumstances that they are, but how do you even believe that you're enough? You still have to go back to yourself and ask yourself, what am I making? What meaning am I making of my situation? Am I looking at myself as a failure? And because, you know, there's a lot of statistics there. Even some programs you go in and the first thing they show you is statistics of boys who were raised by single parents and how not well they are doing. You know, that if you go to prisons, 80%, 80% of the men in prison were raised by single mothers. But then we have also such amazing stories of
because they are single parents. I mean, let's stop classifying them as single mothers, because then we also need to also say single fathers. Let's just call them, they're single parents. And the circumstances of single parenthood come from various sources, for example, or causes. It could be a cause because it could be by death. You could be married and then your husband passes on. Do you stop parenting your children now? Do you panic because now you had maybe 3 boys? You were a single parent of 3 boys. What do? That is because by virtue of divorce, you know, that's another circumstance. You're now a single parent of this boy, or you got pregnant before, and then the 2 of you decided we are not best if we are living together. We are not healthy for each other. So therefore, we can't just say let's get married for the sake of this child, because you'll actually ruin the child. But society does not understand that. It crucifies the single parent who happens to be a woman.
To have found themselves in that situation.
So what you want to do is to raise this parent up, whether they are a single parent, whether they are co-parenting. And then able speak to us about co-parenting.
I know. Co-parenting, I think we have this notion that parenting is just parenting. You live with your child, and then you have a partner who is the other parent who lives somewhere else. But have you thought that co-parenting actually also happens within the context of 2 people who are living together? You're co-parenting with the teachers. You're co-parenting with with the grandparents of these
and with the
children,
aunties,
and with the aunties. We are all in this together. We are doing it alongside each other.
Because when the people who are living together, husband and wife, they need to crack the co-parenting, because that's part of the places where they split hair. Because their styles of parenting are different. But, so you are co-parenting and you have to come up with agreements. Even if you're co-parenting from the same roof, from the same space, or you're co-parenting from outside of that space.
You still have to. You still have to crack the parenting. You still have to focus on yourself. You still have to focus on your wellness and how you're interpreting things. We in fact have seen a lot that if there's a parenting issue or a discipline issue between parents, whether you're co-parenting in the, you know, how it has been defined, in whatever space, if there is a discipline issue constantly about a child, the issue really is about how the 2 parents are relating more than what they need to do to fix this child. So for me, co-parenting is bigger than just having a child, living with a child and another parent is out there. It's parenting in a village.
Parenting in a village. That's awesome. Now, people would like to know, especially after midday. These are women above the age of 40 and they're having children after 40. Yes. Here you are, your circumstances are changing, your body is changing, and then you have just gotten this child. Is it any different? Do you go through the parenting differently? People who had their children a bit earlier, like people who had their children maybe in their 20s, is it any different? Is the parenting any different from the person who's having their children later in their 40s, in their late 30s and 40s? And sometimes even 50s.
Yeah. I think it's different. I think there's another level of energy. Someone in their early 20s and mid 20s will get into this parenting space.
Yeah.
And a lot more pressure to be in sync with what's on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if you're called for parenting, you can run 100 meters when you're in your 20s.
Yes.
You're called for Parents' Day in your 45.
Exactly. You're like, what do I do first? Yeah. There's a lot of other things you can do. So so I think the energy and the freshness that someone will bring in when they're in their early 20s and mid 20s is probably would be very different at a later age. I think also that we're more. I believe there would be more guilt later. Yeah, there'll be more parenting guilt later. As you're parenting in your early 40s, if it is a very young child, you're like, okay, so another 30 years, will I still have the same energy? And whatever thoughts that you're having, you still bring them into your parenting space.
People who are raised by their grandparents,
yes,
they still pan out as God has intended for them to pan out.
Yes. And you know why?
And they're raised by their grandparents.
Yes, they're raised, but their grandparents have more clarity, by the way, in that space than a mother.
They have made more peace.
Yeah, they've made more. Yes, they've made peace with a lot more things at that point. And then also grandparents may have learned on the job with their own children. So they've hacked it a little bit more. And the things that they consider are mistakes they made with their children, they are rectifying them or trying to do them right now when they have grandchildren.
Yeah. Okay. So I know you have a lot for us in terms of there's some tips that you'd like to give us and some guidance.
Yes.
On how we can parent from a place of wholeness and significance as opposed to parenting from a place of guilt and fear.
A list of do's and don'ts.
A list of do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
So shall we, let's first take a pause.
Okay.
Process what you've said to us about who are we being as parents. Are we being bold? Are we being authentic? And are we being significant? Then in part 2, we'll be getting tips and guidance on being parenting. And with that, be bold, be authentic, be significant, and let your light shine.